Thank you. Okay, welcome everyone to the Murray City Municipal Council Committee of the Whole meeting, March 18th, 2025. I would like to excuse Councilwoman Diane Turner. She is not here today. Also, Council Member Paul went up to his office to grab his binder, and there he is. So now we can proceed.
I'm not grabbing it, texting you.
So the first agenda item is the minutes of February 18th, 2025. I will take a motion and a second.
I'll motion to approve.
I have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, any abstention? The minutes are approved. Thank you. We're good. Now, here we go. Number 1, Murray Senior Rec Center report, Hal Luke.
I love these. Well, hopefully you'll love this one just as much. As soon as I can get myself organized here. There we go.
We only have 4 minutes left.
You're spot on. I was just gonna say, now
I was waiting for something.
you have 9 minutes.
That's funny.
Well, I might as well say thank you, goodbye, huh? Today, I want to do something a little bit different to help you understand why I think that Murray Senior Center is one of the best and is so popular in Murray. As you can see, I'm kind of leaning that way. If you look at the map here, there are 18 senior centers in the Salt Lake County. So we're one of 18. As you can see, most of them are kind of headed in the northern part of the city, but we have all 18 of them. As part of my presentation here, I needed to do a disclaimer in the fact that I've tried to gather information from the websites and from different places, and so things may not be totally accurate, but at least it gives a good comparison on things that are why I think it's important. Okay, so to start off with here, best I could tell, the oldest senior center was in 1916, and then we came on board in about 1980, if I understand correctly. Okay, now we're a city-owned and operated center. The 10th Street is a Salt Lake County-owned and operated, and most of them are joint, and probably most of the others are joint also. By joint, I mean that the city provided a building and some of the services. For example, I think some of them have a transportation service even. And they provide maybe a little bit of the funding, but the center itself is operated by Salt Lake County employees. And so it's operated by them, and they provide some funding too. Some of the money even comes from the federal money, as best I can understand, because, for example, we go to the senior center up at Mill Creek for Qigong, and they tell us every time, be sure and check in downstairs so that we can get the money. So I don't know exactly how that fits, but maybe some of you do. Okay.
You?
And maybe we'll find out sooner or later, okay.
Yeah.
So kind of a comparison between the access. As you can see in Murray, we allow people at 55 and older to come in, where you have to be 60 and older for the other county offices. We have a separate registration system, and the registration with the county, your card is good at every one of the offices. So all the senior centers, the same card. One of the big differences a lot of people see is the lunch situation. Kind of a simple con here is some people don't like paying $5 a meal, but hey, it's a pretty good deal. Where at the county, basically you can eat for free. You just take your card, you check in, they'll give you a meal card, and you go. They ask for a $4 donation, but nobody's checking you. You can just put it. So a lot of people like to eat free. Sort of a con for us is we're only open 4 days a week for lunch, where the county is open for 5 days a week. So and then the con on the Salt Lake County is the fact that one of two mass food distribution centers make cook the food and then deliver it to all the centers, where we have our famous in-house Chef Omar. So it's a lot of people like that. So type of thing.
How many do you serve lunch to?
Pardon?
How many lunches do you serve?
Anywhere from 80 to 100 a day.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And it's growing.
It's growing.
As you can
If you
see,
saw what they served at the county, you would understand. If you run Meals on Wheels, that's what you're getting.
That's where it comes from.
comes from a lot of it. So like I say, having an in-house chef does make a lot of difference. So sort of another disclaimer here in the fact that, like I say, I tried to go through the websites or the newsletters from each of the centers and trying to get counts from them. And so trying to gear the right situation. So for example, I'm only counting unique activities in the fact that, for example, in the center we have a Qigong class, Tai Chi class. But during the week we offer 4 of those classes each week. So, but I only count 1 for the activity it is. And I thought an interesting note was, it seems like a lot of the centers, the mornings are a lot occupied, but afternoons they're not quite as busy. So, for example, here I've broken down the exercises. I counted 28 or 26 unique exercises. These kind of being examples of the exercises that we have here, where everybody else seems to kind of lag in the number of exercises they have. And one of the things about exercises, Marcy is, of course, the expert in exercising, and she's made Murray an exercise center. She has brought in specialty exercises such as TRX and spinning. So a lot of people come because there seems to be a lot of uniqueness in some of the programs that we offer for exercises. I classified this as classes, as you can kind of see from the side here, like wood carving, ceramics, so-and-sos, painting. So there's a lot of different classes that are offered. We offer some science classes and history classes. As you can see, we still have quite a few, but others are getting kind of up there. So we have kind of lost a little bit of advantage there. Like we don't have any pottery, but we do have ceramics. And in fact, well, I guess I missed one point that I think is important. Back on exercise, we have some 90-year-olds doing chair exercises. So that's good because of needing to get people, motion is lotion. Okay, so classes, again, we have a 93-year-old that's been doing ceramics for a long time, and she's really good. Games, table tennis, bridge, bingo, some of the things here. We're about tied with some of them. In fact, I guess we're actually below Mount Olympus there, but so some of them have interesting ones like bunko that are out there. So we have quite a few games. We used to have billiards, but of course we found people weren't showing up, and so we got rid of the billiard tables, but there's a lot of other places around here to shoot billiards, so that makes it good there.
Plus, we needed the room.
Yeah, we needed the room. Dance, they have some interesting ones around the county. Ballet, belly dancing, line dancing. We have line dancing, which a number of others do too, and then we have our Thursday evening social dancing. That's every Thursday night. We have maybe 50, 70 to 100?
70 to 100.
And they come to that.
Come as far as Ogden, as far as Provo.
So, but it's good there. Music, we have some piano lessons going on. You can see some others do ukulele and guitar. Languages, we had a Spanish class for a while on a trial basis. Spanish seems to be the most popular out of all these other centers. Pickleball, we have 2 great pickleball courts. That's one thing that's really nice. At our center, you can see a few others have pickleball. I think, if I remember correctly, the Midvale Center, for example, has an indoor, basically they have a big exercise room and they put up a net for pickleball and then they can take it down, so it's kind of a portable, where ours are steady places, okay? And movies, we've used to have some movies in the dining room for a while, but we took that away. Anyway, since I'm running out of time here, so anyway, so to me, one of the important things, or one of the things that makes Murray so important and a nice place, is if you look at it, it's almost center in the whole valley, north and south and east and west. It's a central, but it's also accessible by 215 and I-15. So it makes it an easy place to get to, where some of these others are, they're semi-major streets, but not as good. So it helps. And also, to me, if I'm there exercising, I've come from a ways, maybe I want to do a little bit of shopping. As you can see, Costco's real close, Fashion Place Mall and Sam's Club are real close for people who want to kind of go out shopping after the meal, after they exercise. So I hope this helps you kind of better understand why, at least I feel, that the center is so popular and is a good place. And I thank you for your support of the center and helping us get along great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I have a question.
Okay.
So, could the Salt Lake County people come and join?
Oh, they
with
do.
you?
We're
Could we go over and join them with their card, or no?
well, not with our card. Okay. The situation there is, if they want to come to our center
Yeah.
and participate with all our activities, they need to register in our system, and they get our card.
Okay,
If we, like me, want to go to the Salt Lake County, I just go to one of the ones, like I'm out of the Midvale office. And so I go there, put in the application, and then I get a card. But then
Okay.
that card allows me to any of the other
Okay.
Salt Lake centers.
kind of like a library card?
Kind of like a library card, yeah,
Okay,
type of thing.
got it.
Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, our next discussion is number 2, discussion on an ordinance amending section 13.40.050, parentheses, capital D, of the Murray City Municipal Code, changing fees in the Murray City Cemetery. Bruce Holyoke is presenting, and you have 15 minutes.
Bruce wanted an hour, and we just can't do it, right? You probably wanted 5 minutes.
Well, I don't know if this will be as exciting as the senior rec center, but
Well, it's either that or this. You
anyways,
exercise, you live, you don't know?
it's good to be with you today. Thanks for letting us present this to you. So this all came about by realizing that we hadn't changed our fees in the cemetery for quite a long time, and so we did some comparison with other cities and where they're sitting, and found out that we were lower pretty much across the board. And so we thought we ought to raise the fees and talk to you about having permission to do that, so amend the ordinance. So to begin with, I'd just like to start with disinterments. And now disinterments are kind of messy, they're not that fun to do. And so we do want to raise the rate on that a little bit more than you might think. But as you see, the rate we'd like to bring it to is, on a standard and a monument grave, is $2,000. Currently it's $1,300 for a resident. And then a non-resident fee would be that same, all right? So that's that one. Then the reburial to a double death. You see, that's quite expensive. And that's not one of the most expensive ones. Salt Lake was, on that one, they're $4,600. And so we thought $3,500 would be fair, because we don't like to do them and we'd like to discourage people from doing it, having a reburial to double depth. Because then you have to, what that means, without getting into a whole lot of detail, what that means is that if somebody is buried in a single depth and they want to have a double depth, then you have to remove that and put it into a double depth, so then you can put the other one on top of that.
I call that a double decker.
Yeah, double deck.
That's what I,
So anyway, that's a very messy procedure, and it's kind of complicated as well. So it's labor intensive too, because you have to dig out around the vaults and stuff. So that's why the price is higher on that. So hopefully, if people want it, then they're gonna have to pay for it.
Would you disturb other graves around if you do
Generally, well, you're careful not to,
Yeah.
but that sometimes can happen.
Okay.
But generally speaking, it doesn't. So. All right, and then, and disinterment for, well, the next one is infant and cremains lot. All right, so currently it's $200 and we'd like to raise that to $300 for a resident. And, on a non-resident fee it'd be $400. All right,
How do you, I thought there wasn't any more graves open left?
there aren't any standard graves, for adults, but there are infant ones
Okay.
still remaining. So
Because I
we
was
do
wondering
sell
how you
them.
would know non-residential and residential. I mean, how,
What's the question?
never mind.
Well, if someone comes in,
Yeah,
how do you know who's a resident, who's not? Do you
yeah,
ask them?
how do you know that they're not a resident? I mean, do they have a,
Well, that's a good question, but usually we know that when they signed up for it, we'll get their address or whatever to know that they are a resident if they
Okay.
come in to buy the grave. So that's how we know.
okay.
All right, and then lots. So standard lots, we don't have any more lots available, monument or standard, so those prices stay the same. Somebody can sell theirs back to the city. That doesn't happen very often because they can sell it to somebody else as well and do it that way. But
Adam and I need two.
what's
For
that?
some residents for the last 15 years. I said, Adam and I are looking for two. She brings them up every time. What's Murray, and you can't find them.
Yeah, it's hard to get into Murray.
I thought you were picking out my grave for me for a second.
Yeah.
One for you and Cindy.
All right, so any questions about that to this point?
So are you experiencing shortfall somehow in?
No, not necessarily, although labor costs are going up.
Sure, yeah.
Obviously, and so that's something that has to be looked at. Cost of equipment goes up and things like that.
Materials.
Yeah,
So it has gone up.
so, and also to help us to come into line with other cities as well, which I think is fair across the board.
Okay, so, but you're totally out of space. There's not much else going out in
Except for
there.
infants, yeah. The only way you get more space, well, we are doing, more niches and stuff. We've looked into that, so you
Above
can
ground,
do,
like vaults.
well, cremains,
Little-
yeah.
little cremation.
Yeah.
May I have some? I haven't
Yeah,
seen
we
it.
have several niches. We have, as you go into where the office is right now, and they just,
Oh, on that side, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
excuse me.
How much
Yeah.
is a niche?
What's how much? The niche is, you wanna bring that, let's see, niches.
There it is.
25,
How much? Yeah, it's,
2,500.
it's, a niche for a resident is currently 800.
Oh.
And we want to bring it to 1,000.
Maybe we could talk her into a niche, Adam.
When someone buys a lot, can they just pay for everything up front? Like the burial, the vault, everything, the opening and the
No.
closing?
They do, no, they usually don't. They pay for that and then they don't pay for the opening until they actually open it. It's hard to keep track of that.
Who they used to do that with, my father did it himself with, the mortuary. And then that's the one that handles all that, but my dad did something so that it had current cost, the current cost, even though he bought it 25 years
Yeah.
ago. They brought it up current, had the obituary in it, everything you needed, opening, closing.
Yeah.
So we don't do that, but the mortuary stuff.
That's what we did.
Yeah, we did that, yeah, it's kinda nice.
Okay,
All
alrighty.
right. And then, going forward, so with lettering for niches, it's currently 200, we'd like to raise that to 250. Just because it costs that much to do the engraving now, it's gone up. And, the opening and closing, The opening and closing one will stay this, we're recommending that stays the same for a resident, but for a non-resident, move it up to 150. All right. And then the standard for, and a monument for opening the grave, we are at 500 right now for a resident. We'd like to increase that to 700. And then for a non-resident, they were 750, and we'd like to increase that to 900. And then when they do a double depth for the opening, because you have to dig deeper, I'd like to do increase that to 950 for a resident and a 1,200 for a non-resident. And the infant and cremains lot for the opening go up from 200 to 400, and for a resident from 300 to 500. And then another thing that we have been low on and is costing more also is it's hard to do for after hours overtime. So we'd like to increase that to $300 an hour for, it's a minimum of 3 hours. $300 an hour after 3 p.m. just because it's difficult to do those. And so we want to make sure that people aren't just taking advantage of, instead of coming during the day when it's cheaper and the normal rate supply, that we're compensated for that because of the cost of overtime and things like that. And then weekend is where we'd like to make it a 3 hour minimum, so it'd be $450 if on a weekend and a holiday for overtime for the burial. And that's pretty much it on these rate increases, fee increases.
How much revenue do you anticipate this to generate?
Excuse me?
How much revenue do you anticipate this will generate?
I don't know. I haven't looked into that, honestly. So I couldn't tell you for sure.
I
Sorry.
think there's not a lot of,
Do you have any questions?
yes, how much for revenue?
How much, revenue per year?
How much
How
do you
much it'll
anticipate this will
increase?
The increase is not going to
I don't think it's covered.
increase your revenue that much, and I think you had a question, Scott. So we do have a perpetual care account, and that perpetual care account does not cover all of the expense of running the cemetery each year.
Okay.
So our general fund is subsidizing the cemetery, and will continue to do that.
So if our
So we're not making money. We're just trying to.
We're not
cover
making
costs.
money, we're not covering costs.
Yeah.
Right now, you don't get into the cemetery business.
Yeah. I think so.
I have a question. So I went and asked if a fence could be put around the cemetery because a couple of citizens came to me and asked me because they walked their 90-year-old father, and some of the dogs around there were doing some things that kind of made the 90-year-old man upset. And also, there's things that are being taken off of their graves, their loved ones' graves. So Adam mentioned to me that a fence could not be put around the cemetery. Is that correct? And why not? And would it disturb other graves that are really close to the sidewalk area? The only reason why I'm requesting a fence is that they have 2 openings. You go in and then you go out. And there's not a back opening or a side opening. It's just on that main drag across from the old
Could
restaurant.
this issue be handled separately since it's not part of the hearing today about
Well, I'm just curious, did you guys look at a fence at all? Because I brought that forward.
I haven't yet. I haven't looked at a fence.
Kim?
So we have looked at the fence in the past, a nice wrought iron fence around the cemetery. And I don't remember the cost, but it was several $100,000.
Okay.
And then the other thing is you still have the opening in and out.
Mhm.
We did have an increase in thefts and vandalism I think it was last spring.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know why that is. The police officers did a better job of going through the cemetery. Maybe it stopped, maybe it was kids, who knows what it was.
Okay.
And then the other thing that I think is important to understand is there are a number of residents that use the cemetery to walk in and for leisure activities.
So we would never fence it completely.
Okay,
Well, I wouldn't say never. If you wanted to fence completely, we could do that, but then somebody would have to come down at night, lock it,
Yeah,
come down in
okay.
the morning and open it back up.
okay, all right, thank you. That's all, I was just needed that clarification. Thank you, Bruce,
Thank you too.
appreciate it.
All right, appreciate it.
Okay. Okay, we are now on discussion number 3, presentation on the Love Murray campaign. Erica Brown presenting, you have 30 minutes. Erica.
Hi, Erica.
Some of your people are here.
Some of your people are here. Okay, I think we're ready. For those of you I haven't met, my name is Erica Brown. I work for the city in marketing, and I appreciate the chance to be here today and tell you a little bit. I'll speak up. I was requested in the back to speak up. Sorry. I'm here today to talk to you about the Love Murray campaign. And if you've heard about it, basically I'm going to tell you why we're doing it, what it's for, and share some of the things that our wonderful community partners have brainstormed and brought to the table and are here today to support. So if that sounds good, I'll go ahead and get started. Sound good? Okay, great. So on this slide, you can see 3 new logos that are new to you: the Murray Museum, the Murray Armory, and the Murray Theater. I'll share those a little bit more in depth in a minute, but let me tell you a little bit about why we're having this campaign. So Kim Sorensen in Parks and Recreation brought me here about 6 months ago, and my main objective in working with Murray City is to make Murray Museum, Murray Armory, and Murray Theater successful, to make sure residents are aware of them, to make sure that people love them and they become part of the everyday engagement and reasons that people already love Murray. So the plan that we're about to preview is called Love, Murray, and it can be read 2 ways. One is Love Murray. The city is providing these things as something that your residents can enjoy and increase quality of life, improve the residents' ability to enjoy the arts, culture, recreation. And second, it could be Love Murray, a statement. The people who love, if you can't tell from the full audience, they love Murray. People love being here, they love living here, they love sharing their love of Murray, so it can be read 2 ways, and that is the intent of the campaign. On your right is the map that we're going to spend a little bit more time on in a minute, but that is I prepared this for about 15 minutes, and then I have about 15 minutes for questions after if you'd like, but feel free to stop me if there's something that you'd like to talk more about. My hope too is to get your ideas and feedback, so, okay? Okay, well, these are some of the community partners that we are engaged with. Intermountain Health has committed some financial support to the campaign. I believe the council will be voting on that later this afternoon. Murray Youth Council, we have some kids here from the Murray Youth Council who've been part of this, as well as the Murray Partners for Prevention, Murray School District, and the Murray Chamber of Commerce. They've all contributed time, resources, ideas, energy to the campaign, and it's been wonderful to put this together in such a short time. It really speaks to the quality of the people inside Murray. So to begin with, we'll talk about Murray Museum. It's located in the former John P. Cahoon Mansion, or the Murray Mansion as it used to be called. So this is the visual identity that we've created. These are all being adopted by executive order as part of the Murray City Style Guide. So you can see that it includes the Murray M, and basically is intended to convey historical depth, timelessness, classic design, and authority. So the museum is a free offering to the residents, and for people who live inside of Murray, it's a place where they can go and learn about the history of Murray and eventually learn about other topics. STEM is a topic that's popular in museums. Culture is another area that can be explored. This is some of the items in the Murray collection. On your top left, you have smelter recipes from the smokestacks written on a board. The Pony Express Trail went through Murray. That's an official commemorative plaque. Bottom is the telegraph key that was used in the station here. And bottom right is a doctor's bag. So it's a pretty impressive, cool collection, and the city staff are pretty committed to changing it out regularly so that visitors can learn about not only Murray's history, but time in a distant past. And the really exciting thing that you guys already know about, but I'll just highlight, is Preservation Utah is the nonprofit here in Utah that works with the state historical groups quite a bit. They're dedicated to preserving Murray's historical treasures, and the Murray Museum has won the 2025 Community Stewardship Award, which is a tremendous honor for the city. Wow. And so that award ceremony will be in April. I know several people from the mayor's office will be attending, but that really is a testament to the quality of this project and the quality of the leadership of providing these types of assets to the community.
That's awesome.
It's very awesome.
That's cool.
The ribbon cutting will be May 2nd, so I'm assuming we'll all see you there, but that's the Murray Museum. Okay.
Do you have a time when the ribbon cutting ceremony is going to be for the museum?
Invitations will be coming.
Okay, perfect.
I don't have it, I'm sorry.
It's perfect.
Yes, it's, I'll make sure tomorrow that we get it on everybody's calendar with Jennifer.
That's fine.
Okay.
Thanks.
Next we have the Murray Armory. This is a photo from the Armory last week, so it's coming along wonderfully. If you are not familiar with the space, you should definitely go take him up on a tour to check it out. It really is going to be extremely transformative for the city of Murray. There are not many places in this centrally located that are as thoughtfully designed as this. My background, I've done a lot of events, a lot of marketing, a lot of spaces, venues, and I've yet to come across a venue that is designed as well as this. It's indoor, outdoor, which is really nice. You can see here the stage, which has a raised platform. There's power for performers who want to be there. There's flexible space inside. There's a fire pit. I'll show you the visual identity, and then I'll show you another picture that shows a little bit more of it. But you see in this visual identity the trusses from the inside of the building. I should mention that not only is the museum, but the Armory is also on the National Register of Historic Places. So that is a nice thing for the city to highlight. But one of the things that was preserved in the restoration is the steel trusses in the ceiling. And that is highlighted in the building logo. You can see right there, it has kind of an intricate design. So we've chosen to highlight that in the logo. So it kind of reinforces the value of its historical nature, its artistic value, and also creates a nice identity for it. Here you can see the brochure in progress, and you can see in the top left-hand side, those are the fire pits. So for family reunions, class reunions, weddings, city programs, this will really be a premier space, centrally located, right there in the park by the Arboretum. It's a really great thing for the city. The ribbon cutting for this one is June 2nd. We have reserved the Army 23rd Band, which is the only standing military band in the state. They'll be performing there, along with one of the speakers will be a former commanding officer of the unit that this was operational for. It will be a really great event, and then we'll also have open houses on the 4th of July for Murray Fun Days.
Fun days.
All the days of fun.
Is that right? Only one.
Any questions on this?
Erica fought really hard to get this and almost didn't get it, and so she's real good. She was able to.
I think it's a really nice way to highlight the history of the of it, and we'll do some other fun things too. There's some fun. I'm not sharing all of the details about what we're going to be doing. I'm sharing some of them, but it will be a really great event. I'm excited about it.
And do we have a time on that one?
Got you said.
A time?
Oh,
I believe that
Yes,
the program starts at 10.
yeah,
AM?
it's at 10, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
We thought about PM, but then we thought.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
I'll make sure that the dates and times that we have are
perfect.
all on your calendars tomorrow.
Thank you.
Museum, I have for 10, but that may not be
I
correct.
think that's correct as well, but I just didn't want to commit it to.
I'll do it, let me be wrong.
tomorrow.
And 9:30 for the Armory. Maybe 10. 10. I think we're just getting ready at 9, let's say 10.
10. Okay, I'll confirm tomorrow.
I think it is 10.
Okay. And then we have the Murray Theater. This is a landmark of the city and the state. This is obviously a historic photo that kind of highlights what an incredible venue it's been over the years. The visual identity for the Murray Theater is really trying to be evocative of vintage cinema. So it's regal, it's traditional, it has grandness to it. The color is really iconic. These are some of the applications of the mark, and one of the things that we'll be doing to open the theater is we have proposals from 3 different TV stations. We want to do a live taping of one of the daytime lifestyle talk shows inside the theater. And I believe we're going to go with ABC4 Good Things Utah. They have a great relationship with the city. They have existing partnerships with businesses. Nisha is one of the hosts in the center. She has an Emmy, and they will do a really nice job highlighting the venue as an asset to not only to Murray, but to the whole area. We can talk with artists who will be performing there. We can talk with city leadership. It will be a really great thing for the city to kind of highlight some of that. The plan is to film that on July 3rd. It will re-air on July 4th, which is an incredible asset and value. Basically, we get 2 airings for the price of 1. And then we will be able to have them involved in our Murray Fun Day celebration.
And we'll be doing, just so they know, we'll be doing it for what, a month?
The partnership with Good Things? Yeah, about a month, about 2 weeks before and about a week or 2 after. We haven't committed to all of that yet, but that is the plan for now. You're about to see street banners going up all over the city on the light poles. This is a great idea that has been in cooperation with Parks and Rec and then several of our partners in the community. We did a brainstorm at Murray High School earlier this month, and that was something that came up. So I was happy to report that we are in the works on this. These are the mock-ups, and so basically everything that you're seeing as far as advertising and posters designed that is sending people to a website called lovemurray.com. We have secured that website URL and we can operate it for a year. We've been working with the city attorney's office to make sure that that is all acceptable, and it is. So we will use that website. I'll show you a mock-up of that in just a second to gather email addresses. So we'll share information about the projects from the city and then use those email addresses to grow the Parks and Recreation email list, which already exists, so that we have a better communication channel for the city to use to communicate these things. So this is a mock-up of the website. I'm so glad to hear you're excited. I love it. That's great.
I'm not a longtime Murray person, but I am. I'm just so tickled for this.
Yay.
I really am.
I hope it's a good reflection. I've said to several people, this is really a mirror to hold up to Murray, because the people who live here have contributed so many of their ideas and their enthusiasm and their energy to this, and that's what this is. So I'm so excited to hear that. Okay, so this is the website mock-up. People will go to lovemurray.com and they will see something like this, and basically they will be prompted to enter their email address. Once they enter their email address, they'll get a bunch of information that I'll share with you as we kind of go through the presentation. But one thing that I wanted to highlight again is the map. Here it is a little bit bigger. I gave each of you a copy of the map in bags in your office, but this is in progress, so this is not done. So this is a great opportunity for you to chime in if you have feedback on things that should be included. The goal is to make it as aesthetically pleasing as possible and highlight the points of interest. And that's a balance. There's, things that maybe could be added that aren't, things that maybe shouldn't be, but I don't know. So we've been kind of working through that. So 2 of the 4 historic districts inside the city are on the map. We have the Murray Hill Gardens Historic District and the Hillside Historic Districts. Some of those are not as well known. So I think it's a really good way to highlight the fact that these neighborhoods are historic and have character and value. We also have some of the, if you notice the bridge over the parkway, the artist is working on that. It's like a bridge for ants currently. It's a little tiny. So we're gonna make that quite a bit bigger, and we're gonna repeat it a couple times so that it,
And there's two of them actually.
I was gonna
Right
do
next to
3.
each other.
Should I do 2?
Well, there's two right next to each other. One just north of that. Where's the other one?
I was just gonna do 3 to highlight
it's further
boardwalks.
south. Yeah.
So
That's all right.
please chime in on this. This is something, I think we're on round 100 at this point.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get everybody's feedback, showing it to people, revising, showing it to people, revising. So,
Now, the Parkway is my district, most of it. Sorry, Pam, gets a little tiny bit.
What do you
But,
mean?
uh,
I get a big.
So I'll talk to you about some ideas on
Please.
what to include in there.
I
for the
would love
Parkway.
that. That would be great. Cause you can see there's a few gaps. Ideally, the map is really full. You can see we're adding Cottonwood High School over on the right side, Murray High School in between the senior center and Fashion Place. And again, anything else that we would like to add. You can see here, I've kind of stylized it a little bit to give it a little bit more aesthetics. And so we'll probably do some stylizing like that. But ideally, this map becomes kind of the cornerstone of the Love Murray campaign. One of the things that I saw when I first started at the city, the library was nice enough to meet with me and give me some of their thoughts and ideas. And they have that beautiful stained glass window inside the library. And when I saw the rivers going through the stained glass, I did not know there were so many waterways in the city of Murray. It really is remarkable. And I thought if people knew that, they would really get their head around what an incredible place this is. And so that was kind of the start of it. And then kind of seeing this here, you can see how the city is framed by its natural places. And that's really special. So that's the idea, is to kind of create that, that visual for people.
Should we add the cemetery?
I think the cemetery probably should be added. That's a good idea. So the first thing that we can do to get people in and around Murray, and I know is it called the Murray Walks campaign? There's a bunch of different initiatives, but we want people outside enjoying our natural spaces, walking on the trails. And one of the things that we plan to incorporate into Love Murray that they will get the details of in the email is geocaching. Are you guys familiar with geocaching?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so it's okay, you go, there is a website you go to and you register a username. They don't reserve any of your user data.
Okay.
And basically you use it to get coordinates. And it's like a treasure hunt.
Oh, okay.
And so you will use the coordinates to go through the treasure hunt, and on the top right of this slide, you can see enamel pin designs for 3 of the projects. So for the first set number of people who are able to visit the treasure hunt spots, they could possibly get an enamel pin. For others, we'll have a Love Murray sticker, or there's just the prestige of checking in at one of the spots. It's just fun to treasure hunt for the sake of treasure hunting. So it's a great way to engage a different part of the community and get them outside, enjoying all of these different amenities, familiar with them, sharing them with their friends, and really speaking to the mission of this campaign, which is Love Murray, like getting them familiar and loving it.
It'd be cool to have people check in on their social media of the city social media, a selfie of, look, we got this one. You know,
That's a
it'd be
great
kind of a
idea.
fun thing.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I love that.
I find it hard to believe you've never played Pokemon Go.
No.
No, that's hard for you to believe.
No,
Pam and I
Nintendo,
are
no,
going,
no, sorry.
Okay. These are some photos from our brainstorm at Murray High School the other day. There's again some of the students here, and we're so helpful, as well as some of our business partners, community partners. They had I was gonna bring the posters for you, but they just had reams and reams and reams of good ideas, and then they took those little stickers you can kind of see, and each of them had 5 votes, and they voted on their favorite ideas, and their favorite ideas made it into, these are the art projects that will be part of Love Murray that you will see throughout the community, and that will get updated and added to the email as we go through, so that people can kind of see the things inside the community. They're temporary art things, ways to make people smile, make them engaged in their community, make them proud of their community, that kind of thing. So I'm going to show you a few of those ideas. One of the very generous ideas, and one of the people who was involved in this brought this to us, she's here, is to put the Love Murray logo on the back of football helmets for Murray High School. And so I thought that was extremely generous and amazing and loved that idea, so I included that on the slide. Another thing that we talked about, it's the 50-year anniversary of Murray High winning the state championship, I guess. Someone else could probably speak to that more specifically. But we talked about homecoming, Murray Fun Days, having an alpaca kissing booth. So that people could get a selfie with an alpaca, kiss an alpaca. Again, just like the fact that you're all laughing is the goal. Like, we want to make people feel delighted and amused and happy about their city, that they have all these great things going on for them. Another great idea is, if you're familiar with some large cities, they do these locks like the Golden Gate Bridge in Paris. It's a big thing. People come and they put a lock on a structure of some sort. And we have all of these chain link fences around the armory that we need to take down. And so we will leave a section of that up. And we'll put signage up saying it's part of the Love Murray Lock campaign, and people can come and put a lock on it. They can get photos with it, and when it's done, we can take it down and be done with it. But it's a great little use for something that we don't really need anyway.
Yeah, just a little platform, come seal your love. You know?
Exactly. Propose. This is the Murray Theater has that big blank wall on the north side. I had talked about putting a billboard type vinyl on that space, and we don't have quite the stuff ready for that yet. And so instead, I think we're going to work with the students and artists in the community to develop a temporary mural for that space. One of the ideas that came up from that meeting again was handprint wall. And so there's a visual on the right hand of what that could look like. And that could just be anyone can come and put their hand on it, sign it, and then eventually when we get a permanent mural, that could be covered up and replaced, or we could do a more permanent or temporary art piece for that. And then crosswalks, having painted designs so that when people are crossing the street, it could be a hopscotch, it could be just something delightful to make people smile, to remember why they love their city so much. Last but not least, we have the street sign or yard signs. I guess that the city did this a few years ago for maybe the police department. And some of them are still up throughout the city. But the idea is to create Love Murray yard signs with a blank spot so people can write the thing they love about Murray. It could be their graduate for their high school class. It could be their favorite public service department, it could be first responders, it could be their neighbors, it could be their church congregation, but they could all just write kind of what they wanted on it. We would put our community partners on these and kind of have them available to probably purchase from some sort of a website through the city. We also talked about doing thank you notes to our public servants. And so that's an example of that. And then we have a labyrinth that we can paint using our tools in Parks and Recreation that we use to paint the lines for soccer fields and football fields. So people can come and walk. And it's used a lot, like Grace Cathedral in San Francisco has one. They're really famous throughout the world, where you just walk and meditate basically. And we'll make the paths wide enough so that they're accessible for people in wheelchairs or walkers. And then the middle, last but not least, is street cleaning. So using a pressure washer, again in Parks and Recreation, with a template stencil to use the Love Murray, and we can just clean sidewalks and in the shape of the stencil, and that will leave a mark behind. And then as it gets dirty over time, it will disappear. So that's my presentation. And I'm open for questions if you have anything or ideas.
I think that's the first time anybody's ever applauded a
Oh,
meeting.
Thank
Good
you.
job, Erica.
That's so nice of you. I would love any of your ideas. I'm
So-
obviously here, but
I have questions.
Okay, please.
Let's go to the art for a second. You have a lot of good ideas. Why are we going for temporary pieces instead of permanent?
there's a lot of answers to that question. The shortest answer is that my purview is marketing and this campaign. And that is not permanent art for the city.
I don't know if I like that answer.
I fall under you guys, if you ever wanna fund money to do that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, this is more for the, like you said.
Well, and if we wanted to leave some of these, there's no reason they have to go away fast. They could be recreated, it could be something that we, and we could keep them up longer, we could make them more permanent. It's really just, my goal is to not disturb anything for too long.
And then artists who are doing like the mural and other things, are they being compensated?
The current plan is, I don't have a huge budget from the city. I actually have a very tiny budget from the city. That might not surprise you. So, my plan is to purchase supplies. I would love to compensate artists. That would be a dream scenario. But that is not the plan.
If you get us a little money.
That's what I'm thinking. Can we do a budget opening?
That would be great. I would prefer that. It's just not the world I work in for right now. Great questions. Thank you.
He's getting nods from all you already.
Still processing.
Yeah.
No, as I was thinking about the parkway, so many things that could be highlighted from that. We have, as I walk that every day, I see people bird watching, constantly bird watching. I see younger kids rat watching because the rats swim in the river too. They're kind of fun to point out, and kids throw rocks at rats. It's a kind of
Riverview used to be known as the River Rats.
Still are. Kids have a lot of fun with that. We also have an equestrian trail through there, which is unique for the valley.
That's a really good
You
point.
know,
that I
that's,
hadn't
you know,
considered.
To have on the map either the bird watching or the horses, going through there. We have the nature center there that every elementary school kid goes to that, and it's just a gorgeous little area with a couple of little ponds and they learn about wildlife and plants and things like that. So it's just there's so much there. I love highlighting the greenness of our city because we have that park, we have the other park you listed on there, the golf courses. I just think it brings freshness to highlight some of the nature because it really is a gem as you walk through the parkway. You almost don't hear any sounds of the city.
Yeah.
The bird sounds are sometimes louder than the cars, and it just takes you away for a second. So I'd love to see a little bit more of that on that map.
That's wonderful feedback, for sure. I can
So-
work on that.
When does our annexation take effect? July 1st. I mean, maybe to get them kind of excited to be part of us, like to be soon or something like a shaded in area. I mean,
And
because they're not on there.
what you'll see, without saying a whole lot, is, so this right here, our goal is, like she said, the three restorations that we're doing on our buildings. But after seeing Erica do everything she's doing, there may be more down the road for her to be doing. And
More
that,
restoration of buildings?
what's that?
More restoration of buildings?
Some more marketing the whole city.
Oh, okay.
She's not budgeted to market the whole city, but
Okay.
that could happen.
On the map, I would like to see more on East Murray. I don't know what, but I know you're adding Cottonwood, but it is kind of sparse right there. But I don't know off the top of my head, what to add.
So we have the new park up there, that we took over from the county.
Oh, we could
and
add that
Riverview
one, that's a
Park.
good idea.
In Riverview.
Okay.
Wood, yeah, or we could do Woodstock.
If it wouldn't be
Yeah.
too much trouble,
Yeah.
maybe I could meet with each of you,
Yeah, okay.
just like 5 or 10 minutes, and you could just draw a couple
Yeah,
things
that's
on
cool.
and we could see, would that be okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
I also like the idea, have you seen Eric Dowdle do the
Of course.
city
uh-huh,
drawings?
Mhm.
Have one of our artists create something that kind of gives that kind of a view that maybe could be created into a magnet that people could,
that's what we're hoping for with this, that's the goal, it's not there yet, which is one of the reasons I was like, is it ready? This is like closer, this is getting there.
Yeah, when I go visit friends, I like to take gifts from Utah, and I can't find Murray gifts. I'd love to be able to take a little magnet of either that
Yeah.
map or
Yes.
the little drawing of a city or something that just says, hey, look, Murray,
When we're done, I hope it's this,
That's what we're hoping is this.
cool. I'm excited.
thank you. Okay, thanks guys. I appreciate you being here.
Erica.
Thank you.
Okay, discussion number 4 on the bond perimeter resolution for the power department. Brenda Moore presenting, 15 minutes.
I'm gonna make Matt sit with me.
How are you, Matt?
What a privilege, thank you.
We get that.
Fred's back there,
Can you introduce Matt?
Yes, I will. So this is Matt Dugdale. He's with our financial bond, financial advisory team. So he helps us work with the attorneys, decide bond structures, all the options. That's his expertise, not mine. And so he's just gonna sit here, and kind of help with this. Let's see, we need to probably put this back in here. And then put this in there, there we go, perfect. So, you've seen a lot of these, but just as a refresher, the first thing is the system upgrades. This is why we are proposing a bond. We've been through these, the transformers, we need to stop the central substation, rebuild it, plan on it, keep it from sinking in the landfill it's built on. The turbine controls and maintenance on the turbines, I covered vehicle storage, the relining of the penstock, and the fixing the sandy siphon. About $18 million, we're planning on bonding 19, put a little cushion in there. Round numbers are more fun to try and match. And then other things that, if one of those comes in cheaper, we do have the Arrowhead line relocations that they're gonna finance over years. That we could also add to this if we needed to, if it earned a lot of interest or something happened. Why issue a bond? The projected cash flow, if we do these projects need to be done within the next three years. If we had no bond with a 2.5% growth or fee increase, we don't grow 2.5%, we grow more on it, average of 0.25%. Starting in February 2027, our little black line of cash is way below our line of where the reserve should be by both our ordinance and it's just good business practice. If we had a crisis like we did in 2023 and we spent $12 million for power in 2 months, which is that blue hump right there, we would not have the cash to cover it. So what would we do? We would have to go to our ratepayers to pay for the entirety of it as opposed to just use reserves and kind of keep things flowing. This little graph is what happens if we bond, same 2.5% increase. Yes, the cash dips in 2032. We are working on that master plan, but what that does is it keeps us above there until then. And that thin blue line you see would be the debt service, so that is calculated in here. Keeps things smooth, we have a while, get all these projects done, master plans, and we can decide what we need to do to keep it from going negative way out in 2032, 2033. So it's just to have cash. Now, the basic financing process, some of you have been through this, some of you haven't. We're in phase 1, sitting here talking to you, where we decide the parameters resolution and you guys give us the authority to do phase 2 through 6. That's me, Matt, the attorney's office, the mayor's office. We documents and due diligence, we are starting on these, of course. We get a rating and decide if we need bond insurance. We do get underwriters, do all kinds of other analysis. We go to market or we private place, haven't decided which one we're gonna do, and then we close. It's kind of like a house closing. You did that, you signed there are a lot less documents involved in this than an MBA lease. This based on power revenue. These are power revenue bonds, which means they are, the investors are saying, well, Murray City has enough power revenue that they can repay us these things. It's not based on the land value, the lease, there's none of, it's not as complicated as the lease revenue bonds. It's just power. Same thing, we have water revenue bonds out there, those are the water ones. We have stormwater revenue bonds, that's the bonds that stormwater has, and there's some wastewater ones out there too. So this one is power. Power has not had any since about 2012 when they early paid off their last set. So what you're going to be voting on is bond parameters, and as Matt just told me, it really should be called bond perimeters. So this is the cage that we have to do these in. Maximum par 25 million. We always put extra in there. Not gonna go for 25 million. We couldn't afford to pay for 25 million. We're gonna probably go for 20. It has to be 21, 21.5, who knows, but. The second one is maximum interest rate is 6.5. I don't know what the rate is today. We're anticipating around.
Around 4.25.
Somewhere 4.5.
Um,
Which right now is pretty impressive.
it's not too bad. Maximum term, 30 years. We may decide to go that long, but I'm thinking more 20. Most of the stuff we are purchasing will last 20 years, so it's just like anything else. You don't want to be paying debt on something that you've already consumed. Maximum discounts, 2%. That means that we would not sell the bonds for less than 98% of par. It's kind of a non-brainer. We're gonna get a premium. Our rating is gonna be good enough. This is what happens when you have a double B or a B rating or don't have the coverage and not a well-run power company. That would be a discount. We sell all of our bonds at a premium. Our city's highly rated, depending on which ratings agency you talk to. Power department is well-run, has very little debt. This would be its only debt. So we will sell at a premium. Unless we private place and then it's just sold at whatever par. It's sold at par, but the premium is baked into the par. And then we have designated officers. These are the people that are authorized to do all the rest of this stuff. The mayor, he signs the bond documents. The mayor pro tem, if he happens to be out of town that day, never happened yet. And the finance director. So we do all of the work, and then you guys are telling us within these parameters, you may issue these bonds. And then we come back to you and tell you how it went. So, the city's process, we adopt and authorize the bond parameters resolution, notice of the bonds to be issued, and notice of a public hearing. The city holds a public hearing, and then we undertake our activities. Drafting a preliminary official statement, procuring bond ratings, selling and closing the bonds, and we have to use the majority of the proceeds within 3 years. Not all, but the majority. And it is timed that way. We should be getting and placing those transformers in 2028, April. So we're right in that. And that's the majority of the bond. The council schedule. So this is where you guys are involved. Tonight we're talking about it. April 15th, we are considering the parameters resolution and setting a public hearing date. We're skipping April 1st because I have a conference and I have to go to that conference. I need the CPU credits. And you guys are gonna be busy with the whole Block 1 thing. You don't wanna worry about bonds the same night. So April 15th, you consider a parameters resolution, so that's when you'll vote on that, and then we'll set a public hearing date. I know it sounds weird to have the public hearing after the parameters. That is the way the law is written. That is what we have to do. And then May 6th, That's when we'll have the public hearing, and if we need a preliminary official statement, you will adopt that. And what that is, if you've ever read one, it has a really good history. It will have a really good history of the power fund, why you should, it's a selling document. Hand that to an investor, they read it. This is why you should buy our bonds. This is what we're using it for. And these are all the conditions and all the rules surrounding these particular bonds. So, and then any questions?
So when would it close?
Sometime the first part of June, either June 4th, June 15th, somewhere in there.
That's good.
Which is when we need to probably pay for most of those controls and hopefully have those turbines up and running.
So hypothetical question, I know it's not gonna apply to this bond. But say the federal government revokes tax exempt status for bonds, how much more would this cost us?
Probably the
That's-
6.5.
Probably, yeah, that's a great question. That is on the table. We're hoping it doesn't happen. But you could probably count on 25-30% additional rate, so multiply that. So it could be upwards of, yeah, if we're 4.25 today, it could be upwards of 6%, 6.5%.
Can we get this done today?
So let's do it.
These have to be done by September. They have a continuing resolution going.
Yeah, so
Okay.
the talking point on getting rid of tax exempt bonds, the reason they're not liked by the conservative and even some of the very liberal people is rich people get the deduction off their taxes for it. So that's what they don't like about them.
That's okay.
The-
Foregone tax revenue.
It's foregoing tax revenue. But the benefit of them is every single citizen who drives on a road or over a bridge or almost anything, water lines, not power lines per se, but water lines, sewer, stormwater, those were most likely built by bonds. And every single resident is paying those bonds and their rates are less, so their fees are less. Everybody, not just the rich people. We're not in charge, but that is the difference.
We need you back in Washington, Brenda, fighting this.
It's too logical.
fight.
Logic doesn't work with this administration, so it's.
A lot of youth benefit for being so rich.
Rolling in with my city
Well,
council
and-
money.
Truthfully, some of your 401ks probably have some of these bonds in there, or some of your, but not a lot, because it's not really smart to invest in tax-free stuff in a tax-free thing. But they do. So, okay, any more questions? So you'll see me back on the 15th for this.
I have a question. Why do we have to redo the penstock?
Because it wasn't done correctly the last time we redid the penstock. Water is corrosive. Well, running water, fast running water is corrosive. And so occasionally you're gonna have to reline the cement pipe that things are running down. We have to do it with water lines. Of course, that's the dirt around the water lines, it's corrosive. But, so we have to redo it. We tried to do something that wasn't, it was cheaper. Hindsight's 2020, didn't work. There are different companies that do stuff, and we're gonna do it again and do it the right way, the same way that all of the water companies using some of their, because they do this all the time.
On all these upgrades, do we have to do them all? Or should we just,
Yes, well, you can talk to Greg, but I would, they are all necessary, they are all needed, they all have consequences if we wait. If we don't do that $1.5 million building, that's great, don't do it. We have a $700,000 machine sitting in the sun. Sun is corrosive. You look what it does to our skin, but it does that to hydraulics and plastics, and it's sitting out in the weather, so rain, snow. So we can replace those much quicker. Or we can put $1.5 million in the building and keep those longer. So that's kind of the trade-off. And we have to do the transformer, I mean, we have to do the substation, we can't. I don't know what's underneath there and what the next thing that's going to finish, what would you call it, decomposing and how it's gonna move. I don't wanna be the one that has the power go off in Murray because the transformer quit working because it's 30 years old or whatever, so.
So Pam, to answer your question, we want to bring anything to you that we don't think is needed now. We'd put anything off that we could, and we've been trying, for the last few years, we've been trying to be as conservative as we can with the power department, with our budgets and everything, buying equipment. This will set up the city and the power department and the residents for the years to come. But yes, they are needed.
And I'm just asking these questions because citizens are watching this.
Oh, I agree.
And they're gonna ask me, why didn't you ask this? Why didn't you ask that? Why?
Oh, we appreciate the question
So,
because
I'm
I mean
just-
it's a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
I mean it's a substantial amount of money that we're gonna be investing back into the power system. But it's something that like I said, we'll set up our power system well into the future, and it'll help us get to a point where we can keep things going forward. Proper maintenance, proper preventive maintenance, reactive, or not proactive instead of reactive maintenance that's kind of been done in the past. So yeah, we're to the point where we really want to make a difference, and these are needed. So.
And you can come up here, Greg, if you want. Can you, just for the citizens that are seeing this on the screen and all that, can you just explain the Sandy?
Yes, what?
The Sandy? Yeah.
Okay,
Explain that one to the
Yes.
citizens that are watching.
So back in the day, when the penstock was put in, they had to come up with some ideas to first be able to take all the water that it takes for the intake to get down and all the way down to the penstock and right of ways. I'm just kind of surmising, I don't know exactly what took place, but there was we needed to deliver, as part of us taking the water out of Little Cottonwood Creek, we had to deliver some water to Sandy as per their water rights. And so they call it the Sandy siphon. There was a contract that was made back in the day that put all of the maintenance upkeep on Murray City and just kind of left Sandy, we'll provide you with the water. So I'm just guessing that it took that contract to make this all happen. So now, however many years later, that Sandy siphon pipe is starting to fail. There's rust, there's holes in it. For us to deliver what we're contractually obligated to deliver, we have to go back in and probably re-sleeve that pipe or whatever it's going to take so that we can deliver our portion or our commitment to Sandy, the water that they deserve. They can get it in other ways, but it's not what's contractually.
And are they
obligated.
helping with the payment, Sandy?
No.
But they're getting the water.
Yes, that's because of the contract.
It's their water rights.
It is.
We're using their water to generate power.
Yes. I know where you're trying to get at, and I understand that, but yes, it is totally up to Murray City to make this happen.
Okay.
And it does help Sandy, but that's just the contract that was made, and
Because the citizen's gonna ask that.
yeah, exactly.
So that's why I'm bringing
So
all these questions
we're
up.
under contract to make this
Okay.
happen. We don't have an option.
Because there are new citizens here in Murray
Yeah.
that are living in Murray, so
sure.
they're gonna ask these questions and so.
I appreciate that. That's a great question.
Sure.
Are we out of time?
No, go right ahead.
All right, so, Greg, thanks for sitting here for a second. We had a great conversation yesterday. I think the citizens need to hear of why we're having to bond for a maintenance and repair issues and how we're going to change it in the future so we don't have to do that anymore. Let's give them kind of just a quick overview why we're doing it and where we're going so they know that we have found the problem and we're fixing that problem.
We'll start with the turbines. So when the turbines were installed,
they're called Solar. I mean, someone might say, we have solar turbines? No, not solar, but Solar is the manufacturer of turbines. When those are installed, we hired someone from Solar that knew how to run these turbines 20 plus years ago. His name was Paul, and he came in and just did a really good job of tweaking and making those run for as long as he could. And we did maintenance to keep them running to a certain extent, but we didn't really upgrade the controls because he could make the controls work with what he was doing. The Windows 7 controls, I mean, they're running on Windows 7, so they're a little outdated.
Yeah.
And so Paul retired, and we came in and we ran through one summer without Paul. We started with 2 turbines, one went down, so we just had 1 turbine running last summer. But what needs to happen is we need to upgrade the controls. And once we get the controls upgraded, then they will be able to do a lot of the, it will tell us what's happening. And so between that and some upkeep on the turbines, we'll get all 3 turbines up and running. Hopefully by, we're thinking July 1st. That's a ballpark for us. With our turbines, they are needed because that's what helps us peak through the summertime. And so they're a valuable resource. And once we make this investment going forward, we have 4 substation technicians, and they will all be able to be trained to do as much as we can with the Solar turbines, with also a commitment from Solar to help us as well, but we'll do as much as we can with their help. So going forward, it's a huge game changer for the turbines.
And budget-wise, how are we looking at it differently for the future? So we're not looking at bonding again 10, 15 years from now.
So that's the key. Right now, we're making that commitment going forward. There'll still be some upkeep. I mean, we will schedule maintenance. We'll have to just see run-wise as far as the turbines goes. At a certain point, they have to be rebuilt, right? But we will plan on that. That'll be part of our planning. I'm not saying that we won't be back ever again for bonding, but I don't want to. We made the decision 2011 or 12. We had some money in the bank. We're paying $1.7 million in interest and bond payments. We went to the finance director at the time and said, what do you think about taking what we have in the bank and paying these bonds off? So I think we're very conservative. I hope people understand. Brenda's very conservative.
Yeah.
We're very conservative. Our management group in the power department, we work really well together. So that's our commitment going forward. The substation has been, as long as I've been here, 17 years, it's been sinking. We looked at it about 8 years ago, but it just didn't pan out for some reason. But now it's like, we need to make it happen. And I know there's people who are gonna say, we don't need to do this.
Yeah.
We do, I'm sorry. We have one transformer that was actually taken out of service because the oil test showed that it was failing. Our new operations manager, our new engineering manager came in, retested it with a different company that he's used to using. It came back satisfactory, so we actually put that transformer back in place now. But and the whole upgrade of our system, when we went to 138, this was the only substation that didn't get major upgrades. So it's due, I think, just for the integrity of our system, to keep the lights on. We know just what a little bump will do. People do not like that, but if we had to have cascading outages in our city because for some reason our central substation went down, during the peak of the summer, it would hurt us.
Thank you.
So this is for the integrity of our system, but at the same time, you have our commitment as a management group to do a better job.
Yeah, I think the citizens need to hear that, and I appreciate you coming up here and saying that.
No, and like I said, I know it's expensive, and I wish it wasn't $20 million. I honestly wish I wish it was half that or a quarter of that, but it is what it is, and we're willing to take this forward and make it work. And so you have the commitment from our power department that we will not get in this bind again.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Can you tell me what the power bill is gonna look like for a family of 4 yet?
No, because I can't tell you after they do their master plan and rate study.
There won't be anything on the bond that was.
It won't change anything now. We can, according to my thing, if we, at the end of next times, we have a rate increase happening in August. And then if we did, which we haven't done the rate study yet, but according to this chart, if we did a rate of 2.5%, which is not a lot, I don't know how many dollars that would be on an average house. If we did that every year, we'd run out of cash eventually.
Okay.
But it would take a while. So the rate study that they're gonna do after they get their master plan done, just like Water did, Water brought them all to you at once. They'll probably do theirs a little bit
Okay.
slower.
Okay.
Because we'll need to have that done by next July so that we can move back to just being on the year cycle and not an off month. It's really hard to calculate. And then, so we will be ready to know, do we need to do a 1? Do we need to do a 0? Do we do a 3? We don't know.
Okay. Alrighty.
I mean,
Yeah.
the master plan informs, and then we reestablish and we do a rate study just to make sure, just like Water does every 5
Right.
years, that's what we're gonna be doing.
Okay.
We
Thank
would
you.
prefer smaller incremental increases instead of great big huge
As most
massive.
people would, yes.
Yes, and so we went a lot of years without any increases.
Right.
That's not anybody's fault, I mean, just the way things worked, but going forward, we wanna do them in a small incremental way that's less impact on those that, we talked about fixed incomes and people,
Yes.
just everyday citizens, we
Yeah.
wanna impact their bottom line as little as possible.
Okay. Alright. Any more questions from the
Yeah,
council?
and I just wanna stress how important it is that we upgrade what we have, because we're so fortunate what we have. But one turbine definitely is not enough for what is coming. I mean, we can't keep surviving like that, so, we do appreciate all
And
what you guys do down there, and
We did have a meeting, Mayor and Brenda and anyone that, we talked about doing incremental one term at a time. So
Right.
let's see if we can do this in phases, and we just realized that's what gets us through the summer.
Right.
That saves so much money in the summertime, so
Sure. Yeah, 'cause-
we need them all,
yeah, buying power from the open market is not the way to go.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we have that resource that's there, and if we spend a little money, it'll save us
Yes.
money, so.
Okay, any others?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda, Matt, thank you.
Can we applaud them too?
No.
We start that new little,
Tradition?
yeah, new little tradition, we applaud everybody. We can do that.
Okay, discussion item number 5 on an ordinance relating to land use amends the zoning map from R-1-8 single-family low density to R-M-B residential neighborhood business for the property located at 1300 East, 6500 South, Murray City, and, Zachary Small.
Me.
And that was David,
No, it's not.
because it says David Rogers in the.
Oh, yes, David is
Oh, yeah.
out.
It does.
He's doing an event, so he is not here, so it's me.
Well, welcome.
Thank you. So yeah, this is a request from Post Investments to amend the future land use map and the zoning map for the property at 6500 South and 1300 East. It's just located here, just a little bit north of 6600 South. That's the street that turns into Winchester. That is not what I want. Let's do this laser pointer. Okay, so yeah, located here, it's just south of the canal trail, that we recently, well, semi-recently did. It's currently in the R18 zone. There's been a number of people that have, since this has been incorporated in the city, that has tried to make the residential development work here, and nobody can really make it work. So we had somebody approach us earlier this year asking if they could do an art studio, and we tried to find a zone that would work. And there, obviously, we're not looking at a use specifically in here, taking a look at it entirely just based on the zoning district, which we propose doing R&D. That's one of the most, one of the best zoning districts. It's been one of the favorites in the city.
Oh, yes.
It results in really good, sorry, was there something?
No,
Okay.
no, go ahead.
No, so wanted to make sure, so it's one of the best zones in the city along 9th East on the west side of the street. It's resulted in a lot of high quality buildings. So the low density residential district, you know, in the general plan, it calls for single family homes, at varying degrees at low density. The residential business district has just one corresponding zone, which is the R&B. And David wanted to highlight that it should be applied with nearby recreational areas and wanted to cite the canal trail there as an opportunity spot for that R&B.
Why is that part of the zone? Why is the recreational areas?
So it's not, this isn't the zone, it's the future land use map. So when we're looking at future land uses, and residential business should be near, so it's a lot of things, right? So provide services for nearby residential and or recreational areas. So, you know, somebody could be hiking along or walking along the trail or something, and if there's like a cafe or an art studio, they could go and, you know, check it out. So that kind of stuff. Zoning standards here are R18 is 35 feet for height, R&B is 20 feet, and it can go up to 30 feet with a conditional use permit. So it's lower than your typical residential home. Front yard setback is 25 in the R18, it's 20 feet in the R&B. Rear yard setback is 25 feet, in the R18, 20 feet in the R&B. 8 feet for side yards on both, and then also corner yard setback, that wouldn't really apply here, but it's 20 feet. And parking required is 2 spaces per dwelling in the R18, and then it's kind of based on use, what use they're proposing to do on the site. Typically it's somewhere between 4 and 5 spaces per 1,000 square feet, typically.
How many square feet is this? Are they doing a repurpose of the same building, or are they gonna rebuild?
They want to do a repurpose, yeah.
So, how much space is there on this?
That's a great question.
0.6.
0.69.
It's 0.69 acre, but the building itself.
Oh, I mean, you can kind of see here that.
So it should be plenty of parking.
It should be more than enough. We've looked at it, cause we wouldn't propose a zone if it wasn't gonna work. I apologize, like I said, I was filling in for David. Okay, so, let me get through here. Oh, apparently I didn't put in the finding slide or the
It's in their
recommendation.
packet.
It's in their packet? I don't know why it's
Oh
not
wait,
here.
no, it's not. I didn't get it either.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
I did.
you did.
I thought I did.
Yeah, it's there.
I read through it.
Slides is based on.
And I swear I read it, but, okay. So yeah, there were, I don't think there were any public comments. They had a meeting, I think, on January 5th and voted 7? All of them?
Yes, 7
Okay,
to
7-0, so they were all there.
Yes.
To forward a recommendation of approval to you guys, so.
And there was
questions?
no comments from citizens or
No,
anything
no.
like that? And as of this date, there isn't any?
I haven't received it.
Okay.
I have a question on conditional uses.
Yeah.
So, you can't do drive-throughs for lunch facilities, health food facilities. The banking and credit union services are conditional use with the drive-through?
That surprises me, but.
It doesn't have the without drive-through on that one, so I was curious.
It would probably be something that we would look on a case by case basis, but which I think it would be pretty hard for us to say yes if there were other things that said no drive-through.
That's what I was thinking,
Yeah.
like this seems
It seems
weird.
it seems
They could,
consistent, yeah.
Okay.
That building's about 6,000 square feet.
Fantastic.
You said how many spaces?
So it's kind of complicated. So it's a gross of 6,000 square feet, but our parking requirements are based typically somewhere between 4 and 5 per thousand. And that's usually based on net square footage. So you would subtract out
they're getting,
hallways.
Oh,
You would subtract out
okay.
hallways and bathrooms, things that aren't
So they're
usually
probably need
occupied.
some like
Yeah.
7, 8-ish.
They're probably gonna need probably 15.
15?
That
Okay.
number rings
Okay.
in my brain like that's
Can
what
you
it is.
get 15 on that?
Oh yeah, most
On
of
that back area,
Yeah,
that's
that
pretty
back
big.
area is pretty large.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, any other questions, guys? Okay.
Do you have any other questions, council?
Thank you.
Okay,
Exactly.
our next discussion is number 6, on a resolution approving amendments to an interlocal cooperation agreement among Murray City, Oakdale City, Director City, Sandy City, South Jordan City, South Salt Lake City, West Jordan City, West Valley City, relating to the operation of the Metro Fire Agency GL will be conducting.
I think this will be the most inexpensive item agenda tonight for this meeting. I've asked,
That's good, cause we don't have it.
I've asked the fire chief to join me. I'll have him nod his head or shake his head depending on what I say. I'm here filling in for Doug, who's asked me to take his role tonight, and I'm happy to do that. This is an agreement we've been in for quite a few years with these other agencies. And the idea is that the fire agencies in the valley get together and have a venue where they can do several things. And one of the, I think, important things is they can go through the procurement process and offer for each agency sometimes a better price than they can get on their own. But as far as the agency is concerned, it's run by a board of trustees, which is the chief executive officer of each city. And then it's got an operational section, which is the fire chiefs. The fire chiefs know obviously the day-to-day things. They advise that board. Whoever looked at this last decided that operations committee really isn't a public body. Doesn't need to go through the whole process of going through the public notice and all that type of thing. They advise, there really isn't, I can't see where there's any money that comes into or out of this organization. And for that reason, they want to do away with the budget requirements. You're talking about a group of people who follow rules, right? And one of the rules is you prepare a budget, and there's no budget to really prepare. So that's the idea behind this is to eliminate the one as a public body, because it really wasn't a public body, and eliminate the budget requirement.
It's cut and dry.
I have no question.
Yeah, so you're getting rid of the budget requirement, so, but I was kind of confused by the next paragraph down, where it talks about fees and assessment may be imposed as part of the budgeting process.
Mm-hmm. That is, to my understanding, that has never happened.
Correct. We've never had a budget, as far as I've been a part of it.
Okay,
And,
but you're not
we have-
eliminating the next paragraph.
No, there's always that possibility,
Oh, okay.
and if that did come into play, we'd probably be back
You
and
just
talk about
leaving
it.
like some flexibility in that. Okay, that's, I was like reading this.
That's a good question, yeah. Yep.
I also had in there that there would be an employee, and that's, we have no Metro employees, nor do we have any desire to have Metro. So,
Okay, gotcha. Okay, yeah, it's too easy.
when it comes before you, I think in another
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay. Is there anything else? If there's no other business, I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you.
to order. And we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Natalie, if you would like to come up and lead us in that, that would be awesome.
All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All right, so next we're going to move on to approval of the minutes of the council meeting February 18th, 2025. Do I have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the council meeting minutes of February 18th, 2025.
I second the motion.
Awesome, and that's it, right?
Any opposed?
Oh, yeah, any opposed, I'm sorry.
No, you have to call a vote. All in favor?
All in favor, well, she said,
Yeah, all in favor.
oh, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any
Okay.
opposed?
Any opposed? Okay, yes, sir. Yeah, so I need to excuse Diane Turner. She is not here today. Okay. All right. Okay. So moving on to citizen comments. Where's your little, the little saying? Thank you.
Right here.
Oh, yeah, okay, comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Oh, step up to the microphone, state your name and city of residence, and fill out the required form. Oh, yeah, Patty's over there with the form. Okay, I guess no citizen comments. We're going to go ahead and close the citizen comments portion and move on to special recognition. I'll turn that over to the, what? Yeah. What? Yeah, he's not here.
Joey, did we change the? Did you forget?
I didn't, we talked about it midday, but I don't know where they are.
Okay, well, can we, it would be okay if they do show up, we do it
Yeah,
later?
yeah, I
Okay,
think
thank you.
so. Maybe he's on a call or something, right?
Looking around and I thought, I don't see Tyson, but he's changed a lot, I think, maybe, but.
It could be on a call right now, but that's
All right, so we'll work around that. So we'll move on to the consent agenda with Mayor Hales presenting.
Thank you. All right, we have two to consider a confirmation, two reappointments. First is a reappointment of John Presswich to the Public Safety Advisory Board for a term beginning February 1st, 2025 through January 31st, 2028. Another consideration of ours is to reappoint Andrea Washburn to the Public Safety Advisory Board for a term beginning February 1st, 2025 through January 31st, 2028. And Andrea and, I didn't see John, but Andrea? No, neither here. Usually the reappointments don't show, we invite them, but they've seen you once and that's all they want to see you, so. Anyway, so those are the two that we would ask for your confirmation.
Great, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'll speak on their behalf. They're my homies. That's where I came from. So do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I second the motion.
Okay.
Mayor, do you want, is he?
No.
Oh, that's time.
Brooke?
Oh, yeah, Brooke, would you take a vote, please?
Mr. Hawk?
Aye.
Mr. Pickett?
Aye.
Ms. Cotter?
Aye.
Mr. Goodman?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, consent agenda. Now we're on
Yeah,
public
no,
hearing.
Okay, moving on to public hearings. First now, we're going to move on to consider an ordinance enacting Chapter 3.58 of the Murray City Municipal Code relating to donations and sponsorships. Kim Sorensen is presenting.
Thanks, Council. So we spoke about this 2 weeks ago in Committee of Whole. This is an ordinance that allows the Parks and Recreation Department to entertain and accept sponsorships or donations for our recreation activities, special events, etc. And the bottom line is it gives the mayor the authority to let us accept donations or sponsorships under $100,000. Now, with the mayor accepting those or with us accepting those, there is a responsibility for the finance director to report to the council of what we have accepted over, I think it was quarterly or bi-yearly. And it also allows us to come to the council and request the approval to accept donations or sponsorships over $100,000. And then another key component of it is allows the mayor to give authorization for us to name rooms inside of a building. So for an example, you might think, why would we ever name a room after somebody? Well, with the theater, we anticipate that there may be somebody that would like to name the stage or the concession stand or ticket booth. That is common throughout theaters. So he could approve building or rooms within a building. Anything outside of the building or naming a facility, so naming the theater or naming the golf course or Murray Park after, we would need to come to the city council for approval. Any questions?
Is it limited to rooms, or could you name like a bench?
You could name a bench. Yeah, we could. Good question. Really, anything inside the building that's, I want to say minor, would be up to the mayor to approve that.
Yep.
And I will say that I forgot, we did take this in front of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, and they gave it unanimous support.
All right, thank you, Mr. Sorensen. Open it up for citizen comments. Oh, yeah, sorry. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Step to the microphone, state your name, city, residence, and fill out the required form. Okay, no citizens' comments. Go ahead and close the citizens' comments portion. Anything else from the council? Okay, Brooke, would you, I'm sorry, we need first. Do I have a first on this motion? Or, yes.
I motion to, wait, did we entertain a motion? Okay.
Yeah.
I motion to approve an ordinance enacting Chapter 3.58 of the Murray City Municipal Code relating to donations and sponsorships.
I second the motion.
Okay, Brooke, will you take us through a vote?
Mr. Hawk?
Aye.
Mr. Pickett?
Aye.
Ms. Cotter?
Aye.
Mr. Goodman?
Aye. Yep, so that is passed. We'll move on to the next one. Consider an ordinance enacting Chapter 3.60 of the Murray City Municipal Code relating to fees for use of preserving the Murray City Theater and Murray Park Amphitheater. Kim Sorensen and Katie Lindquist presenting.
Thanks again, Council. And Katie is here. She's here in case you ask me any hard questions, because she's the one who did the legwork on this ordinance. So this is an ordinance that allows us to charge a preservation fee at the outdoor amphitheater in the Murray Theater. So the outdoor amphitheater would be $1 per ticket, and the theater would be $1 for tickets $15 and under, and $2 for tickets over $15. Now, we did speak about this 2 weeks ago too in Committee of the Whole, but to recap, we hired Zions Financial. They put together a report. Their report came back and said the fee that we could charge up to was $4.36 per seat. It also excludes complimentary tickets, educational programming, and free rehearsals. So we also took this to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board after you spoke about it 2 weeks ago. And their discussion was really similar and mirrored what you had talked about. That they felt like the fee was a little low, but after looking at the fee and understanding what other theaters charge throughout the valley, they voted and unanimously approved or supported what we have here, with the direction that we should look at it in a year and see how it's doing and see if it needs to increase. Now, I will say that this fee is not intended to fully maintain or operate the theater. The fee is intended to be put in an account and used for times when there's a need that the city general fund can't cover. And then it's also intended to be used in times when we have economic downturn and monies aren't available maybe for the theater. And then just as a savings account for the theater, so, but not intended to fully maintain the theater or the amphitheater. Any questions?
All right, thank you, Mr. Sorensen. We'll go ahead and open it up to public comment. Please remember, comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Step up to the microphone, state your name and city of residence, and fill out the required form. Okay, no public comment, so we'll go ahead and close that. And anything from the council?
Can you give us some insight into the thoughts of the Parks Advisory Board on the discussion that you had? What were their arguments? What were they feeling? Why they landed where they landed?
So let me make sure I understand your question. You're wondering, or you're asking kind of their discussion around. So their discussion centered around Zions Financial coming in at $4.36. And the discussion around, they saw the benefit of a preservation fee, especially during, times of need, like I'd mentioned. And they felt like the $1 or the $2 wasn't going to generate a lot of revenue or a lot of savings. But as they talked about it, and I won't specify which ones were saying what, but as they talked about it and understood that the county was this is what the county was charging, they saw that we shouldn't charge so much that if the theater wasn't successful, that we come back in a year or two and say, well, it's not successful because you're charging $4 a ticket. So they didn't want to charge an amount that would limit those who could afford to come to the theater. And after conversation, they all agreed that this was the right direction to go, especially where it's something new to Murray.
So when we hold different events, we'll use the theater. Is that price going to be the same every single time? And because wouldn't it kind of fluctuate as far as what acts or what you're doing there or whatever?
Good question.
And with that, why wouldn't you kind of consider like a percentage rather than a flat fee? Or is that just easier? Or, I mean, what was kind of the thought process behind that?
The thought process, and the Parks and Rec Advisory Board didn't talk about that, but we did as staff and with Katie, and it was just simplicity. The simplicity of our percentage.
Okay, so it's something we could possibly look at in the future.
It is true.
But we definitely don't want to go in too high. is kind of what
We
your
could
thinking
look
was.
at it in the future. Now, you would never want the percentage to be more than that $4.36.
Right.
So I guess on $100 tickets would be 4%, 4.5%. But yeah,
Okay.
that is something that we could look at in the future.
Okay, great. Thank you, sir. Any other questions? No? Okay,
Thank
thank you
you.
very much. Okay. All right, I'd like to see if anybody wants to motion this ordinance, or
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve. Okay, make a motion to approve an ordinance enacting Chapter 3.60 of the Murray City Municipal Code relating to fees for the use of preserving the Murray City Theater and Murray Park Amphitheater.
I second it.
Okay, Brooke, would you take us through the vote?
Mr. Hawk?
Aye.
Mr. Pickett?
Aye.
Ms. Cotter?
Aye.
Mr. Goodman?
Aye. Okay, the ayes have it, and that is passed. Okay, next item is consider an ordinance amending section 17.156.020 to allow land use number 7410, sport activities as a permitted use. Zachary Smallwood presenting.
Good evening, council. Let's see if this wants to work. It kind of does. I guess I'm going to go through it this way. That's so weird. I have slides. I don't know why they're not working. So I'll just kind of start going through it. So this is a request from Another Round Golf to add a land use code. I believe I can't even remember the number now. 7410, I believe it is, to add recreational uses to the CN zone, which is the Commercial Neighborhood Zoning District. We worked with this applicant to propose this recreational use at a scale that would be the least impactful to neighborhood commercial uses. So we're proposing to keep that at 2,500 square feet or less. That is going to be pretty small, but with it being next to the neighborhood commercial area, we felt that that was going to be the best option. I apologize, I can't go through all my slides because this hates me for a moment. The Planning Commission did hold a public hearing, I believe, on December 19th and voted 5-0 to recommend approval to the City Council. And I believe there were no comments on this agenda item at all. So Murray staff and the Planning Commission do recommend that the council move forward with this request. And I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have.
Was there any letters or that have come in as of today?
Not that
On
planning
this?
has received.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir. We'll go ahead and move on to public comments for this. And remember, comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Step up to the microphone, state your name and city of residence, and fill out the required form. Okay, nothing heard. Go ahead and close public comments. Any comments from the council?
Yeah, I have a question. Zach, will this allow alcohol sales on the property if we change the zoning?
It could. It could, but I mean, any restaurant, it would be on premise. It wouldn't be like off premise. So it would be allowed within the property, but not necessarily off property.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
No other comments? Okay.
It's us.
Yeah.
We make a motion.
Yeah, I'll take a motion at this time.
I move to make a motion on the ordinance amending section 17.156.020 C-N Commercial Neighborhood District to allow land use number 7410 sports activity as a permitted use.
I'll second.
Okay, Brooke, will you take us through a vote?
Mr. Hawk?
Aye.
Mr. Pickett?
Aye.
Mrs. Cotter?
Aye.
Mr. Goodman?
Aye. The ayes have it. Thank you, sir. We'll move on to the next item. Consider an ordinance relating to land use amends the zoning map from R110, single-family low density, to R16, which is single-family medium density, for the properties located at 1504 and 1508 East Vine Street, Murray City. Zachary Smallwood presenting.
Awesome. I have the slides working apparently for a second, so I will try to go through this. Yeah, this is a request from Mr. Porkazemi he's requesting his zone change from R110 to R16. So you can see here he's located, he owns 2 properties along Vine Street. And I apologize, I don't know the name of the church. I think it's a Presbyterian church. So it's just west of those properties. It is currently in the R110 zone, like I mentioned. There is a smattering of RM10, which is multifamily, 10 units, up to 10 units to the acre, and also R16, which I'll show a little bit later. The future land use in this area is low-density residential. The R16 zone is considered a low-density residential as well. So this would comply with the general plan's future land use map. So based on our conversation from 2 weeks ago at Committee of the Whole, I kind of expanded this map out a little bit to kind of show, I mentioned in the Committee of the Whole that I was originally not in a lot of support for this rezone because it was such a drastic change from R110 to R16. But after looking and doing some analyzing of the nearby properties, as you can see, further to the west, everything in that lighter tan area is all zoned R16. On the corner of 13th East and Vine Street, that is actually an RM25 zone, which is the highest multifamily zone we have in the city, just by itself. And then we also have RM10 to the north of this property. And in that little cul-de-sac just to the west, I believe those first 4 units are duplexes. So there is a precedent here for higher densities, not necessarily super high densities, but there is a precedent for higher densities in this area. And opportunities for single-family dwellings in the city is continually moving further away. So whenever we can get a better opportunity to encourage some more single-family in the area, we can work towards that. So this is just going over the low-density residential section of the general plan. As I mentioned, it corresponds with a number of zones which go from A1, which is our agricultural, to R210, which is a low-density 2-family zone. Zoning standards, the R110 and R16, they are largely the same when it comes to setbacks and things, except for the front yard is 25 in an R110 and 20 in an R16. Just by the nature of it being a smaller lot overall, getting that extra 25 feet can cause some issues. So reducing those setbacks helps in that area. An R16 is 5 feet lower in height, so 30 as opposed to 35 in the R110. And side yard setbacks are 5 feet in the R16 zone as opposed to the minimum of 8 in the R110. So here we've provided 4 findings that were also approved by the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission did hold a public hearing on December 19th and voted 5-0 to forward a positive recommendation. And with that, staff and the Planning Commission recommend that the City Council approve the requested amendment to the zoning map designation of the properties at 1504 and 1508 East Vine Street from R110 to R16. And I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have.
I have a question. I don't see a plot with a proposed division of these. Am I missing that?
What do you mean?
So going R16, it means that he can now put in 4 lots where there are 2, right?
So yeah, in order to do what he's proposing,
Yeah.
he wanted to do up to 2 flag lots. So yes, it would go from the 2 existing homes that are there up to 4, so 2 new dwellings potentially.
We don't have a drawing for that, do we?
No, we do not provide those in zoning changes.
Okay.
Because,
Thank
yeah,
you.
that would be a project-based.
Thank you.
So with this, oh, sorry, are you done, Councilmember? Okay, so with this, it would have to be 2 on that smaller lot and 2 on the larger lot. So it's not gonna be an equal 4 between the whole lot, or is he gonna redivide the lines?
It would have to redivide the lines. So what would be required is that there has to be a 39-foot access drive that serves all 4 lots. So that typically would have to go through the middle, because it has to be 39 feet wide and it has to go a certain amount of depth, right? So it has to be a 30-foot driveway and then 4 feet of landscaping on either side. And then, so yeah, it would end up, it wouldn't be like, I apologize, let me get the laser pointer version of this. It wouldn't be like another lot here and another lot here. It would most likely end up, it would be reconfigured, is the short answer.
Are we going to see more of these with houses that have land behind those houses? Are we going to see more of these coming up to us?
I had this discussion with Chad, the director of CED today, because we did actually have somebody just on the other side, so 6400 South, I believe, that wants to do something similar. And so we've discussed on the merits of that, and potentially sometime in the future, maybe working with the council at some point, doing some sort of residential infill ordinance that allows for these types of things without drastically changing the zones. Because I believe, as I mentioned in the committee of the whole, Mr. Porkazemi actually has enough land in the R110 zone currently to do flag lot on this property. The issue is that it's the zoning district currently requires that he have a minimum of 80 feet in width right here, which he does not have. But the R16 only requires 60 feet, so, which he does have. He has 68 and I think like 65. So because he can do that, then he can then develop his property. And I think, in my opinion, I would rather make it available for people to do it in the underlying zone than to just start doing all these little spot things where it makes sense. But that's a broader conversation, and to answer your question, we continually see these come up and people asking if they can do this, because it's a historic thing in Murray. There's a lot of narrow and very deep lots.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, good.
So I'm trying to find that number again, but I know I read it somewhere. What's the maximum length of an access road before you need to turn around?
150 feet.
150 feet.
Yes.
So, okay. And then is the applicant here?
Yes, I believe he is. I think I saw him walk in.
Does he have any input?
You can ask for him.
Right. What's that? Yeah.
Good evening.
Yeah.
I'm
Good
a
evening,
little
sir.
hard
If you'll state your name and address.
I'm a little hard of hearing, but what was the question? I'm sorry.
We were just wondering if, well, first of all, could you state your name and address for us, please?
Mohammed R. Porkazemi. I live on 8120 South Royal Lane, Cottonwood Heights.
Okay. And we're just wondering if well, some of us have some questions for you, but if you have any, anything you'd like to add in addition to what Zachary has put or said, we'd appreciate that.
I just simply want to be able to put 4 houses there. There's already 2 by Wine Street, but the 2 more in the back, and then make a common road from Wine Street all the way to all 4 properties without using the churches. There's a gate has been, when I bought the property, but the gate was already there, a huge gate. So it looks like they're not too comfortable, so I'm not going to use that. And just use a common road from Wine Street to the 4 properties.
I'm glad you brought up the church, because that's been some kind of concern, with some of the residents or some of us here on the council is limiting some of their access or creating an issue with construction or whatever. I mean, how much communication has happened between you and the church as far as making sure that this goes as smooth as possible and we don't end up with issues?
If I understand it right, you were confirming that the church is not too comfortable using that. Last time I was talking to the church representative, they said you can use it with our permission. They don't necessarily want me to close that gate. And what I'm doing right now over there is letting people use it for little agricultural things. I've been doing that for the last 10, 12 years. And now I wanted to kind of subdivide it or rezone it, so I might be able to put 2 houses as well, to accommodate people who want to have a small residential place. But was that the question?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I'm not condoning people going across your property to go to church or anything like that. That's probably not a great idea. More worried with the construction process and with heavy equipment and everything like that going through that neighborhood and impacting, what they're doing over there. I just want to make sure that that's been communicated with them as far as, what your plans are and kind of a timeline, just being really open with them, what's going on.
I have been, and in return, they've been very open and cooperative with me. They welcome what I have been doing with the back section of the property, which is the south of Leap. And this time I'm glad I had an opportunity. There's a possibility that I might be able to put together zone R16, so I could put 2 more houses in the back. But I definitely am very sensitive to how they feel about what I do.
That's great, sir. Thank you very much.
Good.
Any council have any other questions for? No? Okay, great. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and open it up to citizen comments now. Oh, did you have any questions for Zachary?
Hey, Zach?
Sorry.
No, you're fine, you're fine. What does the church have around their church? What facilities? Is there anything that they have over in that?
So
their
they
church?
do have, they have used this area as kind of a gardens area, like a agricultural area, that they let various groups use, and they utilize it as well. But that's all I know of it.
They also have a outdoor kindergarten program in that area.
Preschool.
Preschool.
Yeah,
Okay,
there's
so
there's a
there's a
school
preschool
that's
there.
within there, in addition to the church.
Yeah.
Do you, I can't ask, that's in some, never mind. Okay.
To the north there, I must be, if you can flip back to that zone map color. Yeah, I must be a little colorblind, because what's to the north there are those?
Those are townhomes in the multifamily, so it's
Okay.
RM10 zone.
Those are tens, okay, that
Yeah.
color looks totally different to me, but that could just be my eyes. but-
Sometimes they come across
Okay.
different, yeah,
All right, so those are townhomes across the street.
correct.
Okay. Anybody have anything else? Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for public comments. Please remember, comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Step to the microphone, state your name and city residence, and fill out the required form.
Good evening, Council. My name is Rick Urbaum. I live in Cottonwood Heights, Utah. Been here 47 years. I'm a member of Cottonwood Presbyterian Church. I've been since 1977. I was here at the meeting. We had the planning meeting back on December 19th. And at that meeting, Keith Lovkin, he's our Buildings and Grounds elder, read into the record a letter from our minister dated December 17th. I think that's already in the system. And Keith tonight has a session meeting at church with the other elders. But he sent me a note. I'd like to read a paragraph from regarding the church is not, we're not opposed to the zoning, that we're not concerned. Our real concern is the fact that Mohammed, the property owner to the west, is using our parking lot illegally to transport produce in and out. There is a gate. The Presbytery of Utah bought this property over 5 acres in December of 1957, and I've got a copy of the deed. There is a fence and there is a gate, but there is no legal written easement across the church property to the subject properties to the west. So the gate is there. A few years ago, the interim minister at the time allowed, there was a gentleman that wanted to plant a big tomato garden, so he gave him verbal permission to do that, plant the tomatoes, then come back and tend to them and then harvest them. We do have a church community garden with 54 plots that has been there for 25 years because we have over 5 acres. And it's a great, wonderful addition to the community. And most of the participants are not members of our church. But anyway, they sell produce and we give to the Utah Food Bank money. So anyway, that's been going on for many, many years. But again, as I said, we are concerned that Mr. Prokensi thinks he has an easement, which he does not. And I would just read, it's one paragraph. This is in addition to what Keith Lufkin said back in the meeting in December. We would like to make it known that if the zoning change passes, the property owner will have the necessary setback needed to build the driveway through the center of his property for full access.
Hey, sir, I am so sorry, but your 3 minutes are up.
I have one more sentence to read.
Yeah, okay, yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. This will remove the perceived need to access illegally through the Cottonwood Presbyterian Church parking lot. We want to reiterate that there is no right-of-way on record or granted for use of that access. The access through our parking lot has been observed to continue to be used illegally on several occasions since the Zoning Commission hearing on December 19th, 2024. And I can give you a copy if you would like it. That's our position from Cottonwood, and answer any questions if you have any. So.
Yeah, are there any other citizens that would like to speak? Okay, if you'll step up, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, if you go ahead and state your name and your address, we'd appreciate it.
All right, thanks. My name is Jacob Perry, and I live at 1500 East Vine, directly next to the properties that are in question here. And my husband and I, we bought our home there almost 3 years ago this summer, and we've really enjoyed our time, being there. We share a backyard with a community garden, also with a space where these tomatoes have grown, these organic tomatoes, and some fruit trees that Mr. Prokazi has planted back there. And being someone that lives right there, it's all the information that Mr. Smallwood, I know, shared is very compelling about the nature of the neighborhood and the kind of homes that are there, the households that are there. But in the space that we live between the church parking lot and our neighbor, there are there are 4 driveways, but that's serving 5 homes. And what this does is it and the reason for that, you'll be able to see it in the map, is that there's one that's set back and behind. And by putting in 2 more homes in this area, the street will just be a little bit more congested with parking. And right now already, there's visibility issues with trying to see traffic coming down from the west. And then we're just concerned that, with other, people parking along the streets, that we'll lose the ability to see traffic coming in from the east. And just making it a little bit more dangerous for us to exit and enter our home, mainly exit. We've also had issues with pulling out our garbage cans to the street, and also with getting our mail from our mailbox because of how people have parked in front of our mailbox. We don't know exactly the impact that this has had on mail deliverability at our home, but given that we're not able, privy to plans or to hold developers to their plans, when plots are rezoned, it just relieves this very open, chance of, of risk, danger, for me and my family. And it's a very unique case that, probably wouldn't apply at other places along Vine Streets. Most of the homes are much further across, but it just so happens that in this little space, just to the west of these properties, we are very narrowly packed in already. Thank you.
Appreciate it, thank you. Any more public comments? Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public comments section. So I was wondering if can I ask Zach? Hey Zach, can you bring up that map again?
Do you want the one with the zoning map or just the aerial?
No, the aerial.
Okay. Oh, probably not.
Why?
It froze.
Come on,
Let's see
man. You're killing me.
Oh, here we go. Okay. No.
No.
I'm telling you, this thing really dislikes me.
We'll get there.
Apparently, if I just wiggle the HDMI cable, apparently everything moves. I don't know how that works, but
You're not holding your jaw right or something.
apparently. Oh, wait.
Okay, one more, like the aerial, like the Google Earth view.
Oh,
One more.
I think it's 2 more, actually.
Yes, keep going.
Oh, going backwards.
I'm trying, I'm sorry. Okay,
There we go.
let's hope it doesn't.
Oh,
It's okay, it's okay.
no
Let's go in
pressure.
the other way.
No pressure, Zach.
Apparently, it is.
Oh, my.
It's going back to the last
Oh.
agenda item. So,
We're going to,
and
We love technology.
this is great.
oh,
Okay, I think
hey,
I'm-
Adam, you have a question did you have a question for Zach?
As we're waiting for this PowerPoint to do its own thing, will you explain, is there anything we can do about this gate on the church as part of this? Or is it seem, I don't know, is there anything we can do? That's my question.
So it is it's something between 2 private property owners. It would really be a civil thing. I know that if this gets rezoned and they come forward with a subdivision, it would be something we would be aware of. And that we can bring it up, make sure that there's nothing showing on any plats, any plans, anything like that. At the zoning, at the rezoning stage, no, there's not really anything. It's really just a dispute between 2 property owners, just like, fence disputes or trees or stuff like that. One thing I did want to talk about is potential construction on this. I think somebody brought up construction on the site. Our engineering staff is very strict about making sure that they stage their construction on site, so it wouldn't be impacting Vine Street going in. That stuff, it would all be done on those individual sites. But now it looks like this is calm and here, so now I can answer any questions.
So just to clarify the question, there's nothing we can do. There might be some things when a or at the planning level, at the further stages on the gate, but there's nothing at this stage we can do.
And even at the subdivision level, not really. We can just make sure that there's nothing shown on any plans that show a gate. But overall, it's a civil issue between two property owners. The city doesn't get involved in those.
The letter that they referenced, it was presented to the planning commission, and it was. Yeah, why didn't we get that email? So the planning commission, they read a letter, an email that was presented from the church, and that was not included in our packet.
It would have been included, it would have been summarized in the minutes. We don't include all the public comments.
So it was summarized. We didn't see the full, but it was summarized in the minutes. Very briefly.
So this goes right back to that comment that you made, with the millions of flag lots that we have in Murray. And we're gonna continuously see this problem having to continuously rezone these things one at a time and beat ourselves up over it. Cause you look right to the west, there's another one right there.
Yes.
That's quite possibly could do this very exact same thing.
I would say that that's most likely something that was done, that doesn't look like a Murray flag lot. It was probably done pre-annexation. Cause I can say 100% that doesn't meet Murray code currently. That is way over. So give you a little bit of context, our code only allows for all structures in almost every zone. 35% of the property can be covered in structure. So house, accessory structures, sheds, garages, things like that.
Oh, no, I was talking to the one, let's see, 1, 2, 3 properties over. The one with, it looks like a,
This one?
where's your pointer? Yeah, that one right there.
Oh, okay, sorry, I was looking at,
Yeah, the one next to it, I don't know.
yeah,
what
that
happened
one over there,
That
that's
was,
crazy.
somebody went nuts.
Yeah, this one wouldn't have the same characteristics. It is very wide. It has a lot of width, as you can see there. We wouldn't support a rezone for that one, for those same reasons. For the same reasons we would support a rezone in this one. Because it does have the width. If they wanted to come in and do a flag lot, they would have to fit under the R110 zone.
Okay.
But I do catch your meaning though.
All right. Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Any more questions? For Zachary? Okay.
I'm not gonna move the slides back, so I'll just leave it here.
Thank you.
I just think we need to make sure we differentiate the issues we're talking about here. One is zoning change, the other one is a neighbor dispute about a fence.
Oh, yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, the neighbor dispute about the fence has nothing to do with the zoning issue.
Right.
So it's a concern to me, but it has nothing to do with the zoning issue. We need to keep focused that this is a rezone request.
Yeah, that's Kip's problem.
I'll add, I talked to residents. I went and talked to residents over the weekend about this, and it was divided sentiment. Some were fine, some were opposed. You've heard some of the opposed today. So there are people on both sides that are in close proximity to this rezone.
So opposed for the same reasons, or?
Yeah, opposed for the reasons that you heard, and others were supportive. So it was divided in this area.
What were they supported for? What were some of the reasons why they support this?
They didn't see any issues. It was a quick conversation. They didn't get into the reasons
Okay.
why, but their comment was, we don't see any issues with it. One of the places is also a business that's in there. The flag lot is a business, so didn't have much input on it.
The one we were talking about,
Mhm.
that Zach is highlighting.
Yeah.
But if it's a business in a residential area,
Yeah.
how does that work?
I don't know, but it does apparently.
Well,
I'm
it
assuming it
shouldn't.
was authorized before the annexation, and we just grandfathered it in its situation.
Oh, yeah, this is the annexed area, isn't it?
This was annexed in, 2005-ish? So
Okay.
I'm assuming that's why that was there, and based upon Zach's comment about the odd flag lot not meeting our standards, that was pre.
With the annexation and us now changing the zoning, do we grandfather the business in by rezoning it?
I think we've already grandfathered in. You could explain it better.
Sorry, I'm sorry, I don't mean to speak for you, Councilman Hawk, but I think he means this property right there.
Yeah.
So this property where the little highlight is, that's the business. So that's not affected by this proposal. It's just, yeah. I apologize.
Can we throw out the business question out the window because it's not the property we're talking about, right?
It's not the property, but as I talked to residents in there, I did talk to the business, and
Okay.
they didn't have much say on it.
Yeah, you know, one of the issues brought up today by one of the citizen comments was about the number of driveways. And it seems like by allowing the rezone, it would reduce the driveways by one because we now have two driveways coming out of this and now
Right,
it would
that's what I
become
was-
one in the middle, right?
That's what I was looking at, yeah.
Yeah.
Because of that one, well,
Yeah, because the ones,
Yeah.
they're both on the west side of the property and now it would become one right down the middle where the one is right now.
So they'd have a shared driveway for the four houses, is that, what about the width? Doesn't there have to be a width between them, between the two driveways?
No, it's on either, so it's
So it could
39
be
feet.
on the, it could be on the east and the west.
Yeah.
And then the center.
It would be
doesn't
30
need
foot
that. Okay.
access, yeah.
So the driveways will remain?
No, you were correct. So,
Okay.
it would be 30, it would, if they do the two flag lots, it would be a 30-foot wide driveway.
Down the
And
middle.
then on the east side, there would be 4 feet of landscaping, and on the west side,
Yeah.
there would be 4 feet.
Okay,
of
that's what I
landscaping.
understood, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You had it right.
I have no more discussion items.
all right. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and I'll entertain a motion.
Let me make the motion. Okay. I'll make a motion to approve an ordinance relating to land use amending the zoning map from an R110 single-family low density to an R16 single-family medium density for the properties located at 1504 and 1508 East Vine Street.
I second it.
Okay, Brooke, you take us through it.
Mr. Hawk?
So this one's tricky for me. But I tend to lean toward that this is too dramatic of a change, going from an R110, because R110 is really close right there on the neighborhood, going to an R16 there. So, yeah, it feels too dramatic of a change, so I'm a no.
Mr. Pickett?
I do have a similar concern about changing the structure of the neighborhood, although I do like the idea of more homes in Murray. I just don't want to hurt the current property owners who are there, who are R110, so I'm a nay.
Ms. Cotter?
Nay.
And Mr. Goodman?
Yeah, pretty much for the same reasons. I'm, but we need to have some future conversations as far as how we're gonna tackle the flag lot. Cause this is gonna keep happening over and over again. We need some sort of, so I'm a nay with Mr. Smallwood working with us in the future and fixing this. Oh, yeah, so this, Ordinance did not pass. Yep, so we've moving on to, there's no business items, on to the mayor's report and questions.
Well, I'll just bring this up again. I know we already talked about it in the committee of the whole, but May 2nd will be our, I don't know if they call it open house or not. I know she uses a different name, but anyway, open house for our museum mansion. And there'll be a time on that given tomorrow. And then also June 2nd will be the opening of the armory. So kind of cool. Got some big things happening. The theater's coming along. I went over and looked at it, and it'll be in 2027, but no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You pushed forward the date, 2027?
Look at Wendy out there. Wendy's going, you're kidding me. Yeah, no, it's this year. It looks really good. It looks different. I went over and saw it about a week ago, and it's just totally different than what I'd seen. I mean, it's looking good. So you can't sit still, but it's looking good. The next thing I have, Kim Sorensen asked me to just let you know, the bathrooms over at Murray Park, the center ones right there in the middle, were vandalized, were graffiti in and out at 4 o'clock today. And he just wanted to let you know that his staff's on it. They got on it immediately because it's easier to get off the sooner you get on it. And they've spent a few hours, 3-4 hours trying to, so there's overtime involved. And I think that's what he really wanted me to let you know is sometimes you just don't know. Those things happen and a lot. And if we don't get it off, then it doesn't look good. So anyway, he just asked that I just mention that. Was that a ploy for the overtime? Is that what you're trying to do? Because I saw Adam laugh when I've only been thinking that until Adam laughed. And, yeah, anyway, so we have great employees. That's really what he wanted me to bring up, is they jumped on that real quick and are getting it removed. But it's a lot of manpower to do that, so. Anyway, that is my report. On that positive note, On that positive note, should have talked about the armory and the mansion last, so that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, I'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting.